Hello and welcome to Current Wave. I'm your host, Ayla Wayman, and in this podcast, we meander through our shared delusions and stumble into ethereal shit-talking as we dive into the waves of the human experience. I'm so grateful to have you here. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoy the ride. Hello, and welcome to Current Wave. Welcome to our first episode. It has been a very long time coming. I first came up with the idea for this over 2 years ago and recorded the first 3 episodes rather, 2 years ago. And here we are, beginning with this episode as the first one. You have to start somewhere. And I feel really grateful and excited to put this out into the world. A little apprehensive after all this time. And one thing that happens with time sometimes is a lot of expectation also coincides with that. So just moving forward, I have really been able to adopt the philosophy of done is better than perfect over the last few years. And for me in this stage, it's really about moving forward and creating and finding a really fine line and balance with both holding things with care and also not being overly precious. So the original idea of this podcast was a little less precious than the first few episodes came out to be, and that's beautiful and totally fine. And I'm just grateful to be creating and moving forward and doing things because they feel right and they feel resonant, and trusting that path of creation. I think that we need more art and creation for the sake of it, and this is something that I wake up in the night wanting to do and wanting to create and experience and converse with a multitude of people in... Wow, that's so loud. My AC just went off and I realized how loud it had been. This mic is really good and picks a lot of things up, so there is some background noise, there's some chaos, there are things that are not perfect, and that's really not the intention or the point. The point is to have conversations with people and to connect deeply and broadly and explore and be present to what feels true and alive in each moment, and trusting the path and trusting the unfolding of that. So I'm really excited to have a dear friend on today's episode, Tatiana Fontalvo. She is a beautiful human and shares a lot of wisdom. I am really happy that she was able to come on here. We have a lot of conversations and I'm just excited to have recorded one of them. So yeah, without further ado, welcome. If you enjoy this episode, please share it with a friend. Please subscribe, leave a review, and rate the podcast. And yeah, I'm just excited for it to exist in the world. So thank you so much. Amazing. Well, I feel so honored to have you here today. Our guest today is Tatiana Fontalvo. Am I saying your last name right?
You are.
Okay, amazing. I was like, I've never said it out loud to you before. And you do many different things. You're a broad spectrum human being. Magdalene Priestess. I think of you as like a healing arts practitioner and amazing friend and human being on this earth. And yeah, I would love to hear anything else that you would add.
Well, thanks, Ayla. I am an artist by my roots are in art and have led me towards more spiritual work and emotional work and trauma work. But yeah, all these titles kind of weave in together to like you said, a full spectrum person. So
Yeah.
who's curious?
Yeah. I mean, that's so beautiful. And to have like, I forget that because I think like I know you more situated how you are now. But of course there's like a whole history and story. And that artist piece like obviously makes so much sense just thinking of how you show up and like that creativity and playfulness and curiosity that you bring into, I think, like the realms of spirituality and everything else that you do. So
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to start with kind of, I think that we've had a conversation last week and I kind of have like a little bit of a sense of where you're at, but I think it's also happening in the collective of like transitions and transformations. And I would just love to hear sort of like how you're feeling today and in this moment in your life, and as like detailed as you want to talk about, or like we can be high level too.
Okay.
Of just like
that.
what you're moving through.
Yeah, so I think it's cool that we're talking the day after this eclipse, this new moon eclipse that a lot of people were feeling. Yeah, I am going through a lot of change in my life, ultimately becoming more of a woman, I'd say. Really aware of my change from kind of like senior maiden to mother, and like it's such a full ass experience to grow and shift, and it always comes, what I'm realizing, it always comes with like so many layers: grief, excitement, boredom, fear, all kinds of stuff just like have to come up, at least in my experience, and call me into a lot of presence. So this big shift, I'm also in my Saturn return. I just turned 30 years old. I like moved and reorienting some relationship stuff. So it's pretty much everything is being tossed around, and I feel really grateful that I've been given the tools and the understanding in my life that everything is ultimately for my good. If I didn't have that awareness, I'd probably be a lot more reactive. And I've had my moments, of course, where it's like, oh shit, I really can't see how this is going to work out, or I really don't know where I'm going here. But that tether has been like the ultimate lifesaver for me, because it's like it's my version of nihilism in a way, where it's like none of this is as real as we're making it. None of this is as serious as it is being presented to us. There's actually this like benevolent narrator right behind my shoulder who's like, oh, I'm testing you here, I'm gonna poke you here, but ultimately everything's gonna be okay. And pretty much for the past couple months it's been a constant day by day practice. Can I just be here for today? And maybe there's some stuff in the future that I'm tracking on, and that feels like intuitive and clear. Yeah. But day by day, baby.
Yeah. I hear you. And I really love that perspective. I think that it's so deeply grounding. And supportive to have that. And I also think it's not always the easiest thing to cultivate, or like maybe it's not something that everyone has as readily available access to.
It's true.
I'm curious kind of, you know, how, obviously I'm sure there's a long version of it, but like the tools that you're using in addition to this orientation and belief, and like how you've cultivated trust in that.
Yeah. I love that question. There's a lot I could say. So I'll say a few of those things, which is one, I feel really blessed. Like as a child, I was a very spiritual kid, and I did talk about God, and I felt God. I was pretty much a Shinto. I thought everything was alive and everything was my friend, which was a little overwhelming sometimes because, like, you know, you go to a store and there's all these things everywhere and you're like, my friends are stuck behind this glass. Are they okay? So I've always had this, like, innate sense of, like, everything is here and everything's loving me. But, of course, as you get older and you go through things, that gets to be questioned. I think a lot of kids go through that, actually. And really, on one level, it's been the miraculous adventure that is my life. Watching things just work out again and again. Watching things surprise me. I mean, right now I'm just thinking that there's like a flood of memories of college where I was just being ridiculous, you know, stoned, forgetful, silly, and things came back to me, and I met the right people, and I was in the right place at the right time, and like it was clear to me that there was a rhythm to life, and that there was a lot of support actually towards me. I also noticed that like kindness and good intention tend to really come back to you. So if I'm in like a pissy mood and I'm really negative and I'm like just being a brat, I know I'm going to get a mirror of that in some regard. If I am really trusting, like for one example, I've backpacked across the EU. I've road tripped a million times across the US. Like, I was in such a good energy during those experiences that got me out of ridiculous predicaments. It got me meeting only kind strangers, really, like minus one or two, like truly. And I hear other people's experiences and they talk about like, oh my God, what a terrible trip, and oh my God, this went all wrong. And I'm like, you know, I really believe that people are good. I really believe that, like, I choose to see the twinkle around me. I choose to find the magic, and then it's always there. On another note, I've also been very depressed for some of my life and did not see the twinkle at all for years. So I think I come from a place where I'm extra grateful and extra protective of that light because it's everything to me. It's kind of like my saving grace. And as an only child, as someone who's spent a ton of time by herself, like that's my playmate in a way, is like textures and feelings and God. So that's like an abbreviated answer of what I would say. There's a lot to that. And also it's like just believing it and playing in it, believing it and playing in it. It's like anything. You'll get the results. And then you're like, okay. This is working.
Totally. I love that. Yeah, it sounds like really like cultivating that trust muscle through experience and through that play and like testing it and seeing what happens and like allowing the universe to mirror back to you your energy, your way you're showing up, and then seeing like, okay, when I'm showing up like this happens and I'm guided more benevolently, And, like, I love that piece that you mentioned where you were in college and you're just kind of, like, stoned and, like, not necessarily, like, curating your life, but you're still held and you're still supported.
Right.
And, like, seeing that. And even when things do go awry and, like, even when you get a little reflection of, you know, a bad mood or something, it's cool to develop that trust and see, okay, I'm still held even in this, but I could change some things. I could do some tweaks.
Right. And something I've noticed is that for things to go terribly wrong, I think it's quite rare for things to go absolutely terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Without signs, without you ignoring something for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Right? Or sometimes something goes quote unquote terribly wrong, but it's actually exactly what you needed. If you stay with it, it's actually a huge gift. So that has also given me a lot more confidence because really what's the worst thing that's going to happen, right? I think the brain is so used to catastrophizing or just trying to ideate every possibility to keep us safe, which makes sense. But if you really look at your life, if you really, really look at it, or I'll just speak for my life, I look at my life, the things that were out of my control, they were out of my control. Sometimes that was hard, but I could still see what that was for me, what it was providing me, where it was pointing me. So it's that paradox.
Totally, but it's so powerful, and I do feel like we're in like such an interesting time, and it definitely feels like a lot is being asked of all of us, and I've been really feeling this sense that like a lot of people are facing kind of challenges in their personal lives, and I really think it's like the universe's way to be like, okay, we all gotta level up, we gotta go faster, and like what helps us level up is when things aren't going as planned.
Absolutely.
And when you're like having to go through the fire, like that's how you gain wisdom and strength and like all of these amazing tools. And I think we all have to come online a lot more. We were talking about this last week of just like, wow, we're being asked to show up, and I'm just only having those conversations right now of people being like shown the places that they need to grow or like could benefit from growing.
Yeah, and to that, it's like we are all so brilliant. I mean, a lot of us are deeply educated, trained. You know, the internet has been such a massive, expansive tool for all of us. And at this point, it's like, okay, I can have all that knowledge, I can have all this data, but if I'm not relating well, if I can't build a bridge, if I can't teamwork, then what's possible in me, in us, is small.
Yeah.
Right? Like, anything that is anything big here in this world takes many hands, takes many heads. So it's not, my sense is we've spent a lot of time in individualism, and that's okay. And I think it's really important to get to know yourself and have a good relationship with yourself and do whatever the heck you want to do. And it's like, okay, if we can't collaborate, come together, compromise, communicate, like we are not going to be able to do the deeper work on a collective level that is just pretty obviously needed on an infrastructure level, on a like emotional level, like political level, all of it.
Yeah. I know. I love everything that you're saying, and I think that it's really interesting. I think that we're really being asked, right, to like step. It feels like there's this huge transition coming, and that we're already in. Like it's already it's already really underway. And I don't know if that's like the age of Aquarius that has kind of like we've been in that zone and moving into this new era and like coming into this Aquarian world that's like about groups, it's about community, it's about networking, it's about technology. It's like, okay, we have so many tools available, but what are we doing with them? And that piece of like, okay, there's all these beautiful, powerful self-actualized individuals, and then how do we now take that to the next level, which is, I think, collective. I think that that's like being shown to us with natural disasters, like with everything that's happening on the southern east coast, and like that takes community, that takes collaboration, that takes like problem solving and networking and like creating a new way of being that is not in place. And I think that I'm so optimistic of the future, and I'm like, there's work that needs to be done to like build this bridge from where we are to where I think we could go. And yeah, I'm curious, like in that, as we're like thinking about these individuals and like moving into a collective, like what are you seeing as like some stuck points, and how do you think that we can like work on those together?
I love this question. Thanks, Ayla.
Yeah.
These are things I think about quite a lot. So emotionally, collectively, we are a bit immature. And with that, that means we could have a great idea. You and I, we're going to create something together. Not a little, few hour project, like a real project.
Yeah.
And I'm communicating, I'm saying something to you, and you're getting triggered by what I'm saying. You then communicate back to me in an edgy way that triggers me. And I don't say anything. I want to be nice about it. But you can sense that, and it becomes this whole dynamic, right? This is just an example.
Yeah.
Like, people are not aware of what's acting in them, what is getting activated in them. And it comes out in relating. It comes out in trigger and suppression and overwhelm, and even people just are not aware of the sensations they're experiencing, and they have no idea. They think everything's fine. They're totally in their heads. So this is something that I'm really, really interested in, because I think there's a lot of layers to it, and there's obviously like communities that are, relatefulness and circling and even tantra. Like there's communities that are exploring and expanding how we talk, nonviolent communication, but there's still a sense of like we all do require being extremely responsible for our systems and our feelings, because it is so easy to go, you upset me, you are not someone I can play with anymore, you are a problem, I don't like you, I don't get you anymore, I thought I did but now I don't. And sometimes there is incompatibility, but how often do we see people who are so excited about a project, like think about a band or think about just entrepreneurs come together, but then they don't have the longevity to really hold it out, marriages, relationships, and I just want to give a little space to the nuance. Like, I do believe not everything is meant to last forever, but I have just seen again and again people with really big dreams just not being able to execute because everyone's projecting. And that's what we do. We all project. That's part of how we move through the world. But if we're not aware of that, if we're just labeling people and blaming people and not seeing, oh my God, this is exactly related to my wounds, this is exactly related to my own perceptions of the world, or oh wow, like I get offended really easily by these kinds of people, or whatever it is. That intimacy with yourself is like such a power tool for navigating anything with people you don't know, with people you do know, because guess what, none of us can really live in a bubble. I mean, some people try, they live off grid, they live in a commune, but like you're saying about these natural disasters, like you can't just have your people all the time around you that always get you. You need to feel masterful inside yourself with how you navigate people and your own inner world and your own feeling body. That builds so much confidence. So that's like huge.
Yeah.
And that relates to being really present to what you went through when you were younger, what kind of trauma you might have, what kind of like stories you tell yourself, beliefs you have about the world, knowing how powerful those are.
Yeah.
And then the other piece I was just going to say is that, and I'm curious, I'm curious to see how this unfolds in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But I do believe that we are all in a bit of a spiritual revolution where we are getting outside of this idea that we're just people and getting into the understanding that we are really potent creators, we are channels, we are connected to something way greater than we were ever taught in school, even ever taught in religion.
Yeah.
Unless you're in some like really woo-woo cult or something.
Yeah.
But like really coming into right relationship with our spiritual selves. Because when that is online, we're, instead of like kind of putting ourselves as the main character all the time, that's like all these little things are so important. It's like you're part of the tapestry of the earth. You are a living and breathing expression of the divine, and how you navigate the world, what you prioritize, becomes a lot more grounded and at the same time expansive. So when I was in New York City this summer, I had a moment where I was like listening to music on my headphones, and I was wearing a cute outfit, and I was walking down the subway, and I was feeling very main character. I was like, oh, it's me, Tatiana, in the city, like feeling really cute. And then I had this moment where I was like, because I felt some tension in my body actually doing that. I felt a little bit like I'm a performer right now. And I said, why don't I just kind of melt into the field that is this living and breathing city of New York? And when I did that, I didn't care so much about how I was coming across. I kind of lost my ego a bit in that moment, and I felt the like awe and enthusiasm to witness everybody else, to be in this moment, 2024 August, New York City, and and it was so much fun. And I don't think it's wrong to play into that character that you are, because it's true, we are all these like little bundles of energy and uniqueness. But I felt so much more connected to a greater love and a greater ease and a greater awareness when I let myself melt into the field around me. So if we could all get a little bit more spiritually plugged in to how we are all connected, to how big and powerful we really are, outside of our insecurities, outside of our limitations, and balance that with that human aspect that is, emotions are here, and we've been through stuff, and relating to those feelings and being able to have empathy for other people's feelings, right? Instead of judge them or want them to be somewhere they might not be. Those are my focuses. What do you think?
Amazing. Beautiful. Yeah, you covered so much, and I love everything that you said deeply. Really, really resonates. And yeah, what I'm hearing you say is like so much of it, it's like we have to also start with sort of like this awareness, and in these relational dynamics and in this sense of self, it's important to learn how to communicate. Like that's just seems like such a big one. And I really don't think that we were taught that. And yes, there's like so many different groups, as you mentioned, working on this. There's so many different like techniques and modalities and teachings that are becoming like way more online, way more accessible in just like the world. You see things kind of more in mainstream circles now, and that's amazing. And it's like crazy. The whole school system, it's like we should learn completely different things than we do, like how to regulate, how to communicate, how to be in the world in these bodies as relational creatures.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wow, that's really what we need. And then like moving kind of like those aspects into that spiritual realm, and like how do we balance our sense of self and our like ego with this greater vision and picture. And I think I'm curious about like that piece too in the coming times, because, you know, especially in the US, this country is like built on individualism and like actualizing your dreams. And I think it's really easy to get so attached to that and tied up in that and like not have that vision. And it really is like ultimately we're this drop in this bucket, and it's not ultimately about us. It's about this collective experience, this wild mystery. And I've been seeing a lot more people actually like talking about how to live in your life and like through your ego and like main character energy, and thinking about 7 generations in the future, thinking about like legacy and like being a person who moves through the world that's somehow trying to connect to like this unseen future and unknown existence that's like very hard to keep on your heart and in your mind when we're like, okay, gotta like do this, move through the world, create things.
Yeah, totally.
It's a lot to balance, and I think that that is like the next stretch and next level is like integrating more of this.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And something that helps me with that is my sense of family. When I am around a group of people I love so much, it's like the euphoria, the fun, the ease, the naturalness is just so high, you know?
Yeah.
I think of like, I don't know, a big feast with just candlelights and friends. I mean, do you really need more? Like, what more do you need? Like, those moments feel so full and complete to me.
Yeah.
And yes, I want everyone at that table to be healthy, happy, you know, confident in what they do. Like, we all have our individual gifts and our skills, but if I am just like a highly skilled person by myself, it doesn't compare to being on that table and not being skilled in a way. Like, I would, and I really love my intelligence and I really love all the things I do, but I'm coming to a point of like, it's that simple truth that, you know, life is about relationship. And when I start to, and that's a big deal for someone like myself who has been like kind of a lone wolf a lot. But when you tune into that feeling of like, I want everyone that I love to be okay. I want my community to be, my neighbors. I really want this. It starts to soften the edges of your inner box and go, oh, like we are all here and we all have so much potential and so much opportunity to water all of our gardens, all of our families. Everyone gets to like enjoy this, like Garden of Eden vibes for real.
Yeah.
Right? And because I have a huge trouble thinking far in the future. Like I can kind of vibe with it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier for me to feel into all the people all around the world that I love.
Yeah.
And how I want all their worlds to be functioning and flowing. And I wish that my people were a little closer to me because they're all spread out. But I'm excited for, I think my 30s are going to be a lot more connected, communal, sharing, because I just want us all to win. It's not fun if I just win.
No.
You know? You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, wow, it's just like such a beautiful way to kind of like ground this, and to just like that dinner party scene is so beautiful, because I think, right, like we all want to be seen and heard and loved and like in that community, right? Like ultimately what's driving the things under that individualism, it's actually like we think that that is going to get us that success, or like whatever that is, that will actually be the thing that gets us the love in the community. But there's a shortcut. Turns out there's a hack where you just focus on that, at least in a bigger way, and like, yeah, that collective winning and that collective view, and like coming into that. And I think that is a grounding force that like I do see this translation of like, okay, if you're prioritizing that now, those ripples will be felt in the future, right? Because it is hard to kind of like think of things that are so abstract, but I love that piece and that grounding and that orientation. It's so beautiful, because when I like think about my favorite moments in the past year, it is like when I'm with my dearest people, when we're like sharing meals and laughing, and in those situations that just feel, you're not even thinking because you're just being, you're just so present. Like anything that delivers us to presence is also a hack.
Like nature, right? And nature is communal, right? Like you can be by yourself by the mountain, but there's the bees and the bugs and the birds and the dogs and the stream and the air, and you know,
all your friends,
all my friends. And
totally,
and that feels really good to our nature. And oh gosh, I was gonna say something, oh my goodness, gosh, what was I gonna say? But yeah, I know what I was gonna say. It's such a paradox, though, because would I be here in this room with you, someone that I feel connected to and resonant with, if I didn't go on my own solo journey of all this inner exploration and all this like self-knowing? If I just said, I choose family, I'm going to live in Long Island for the rest of my life, I'm going to stay with the same friends forever, I would not be here.
Totally.
So it's really this like unique balance that I see us being really graced with. Like we have so many options, which can sometimes feel overwhelming, but we also get the chance to choose. We get the chance to like really listen to our hearts and our gifts. And like my path, no one showed that to me. I mean, my grandmother a little bit, for sure. I'll give her that. But like it wasn't what anyone was expecting of me, or anyone in my high school would have been like, oh yeah, obviously, like there's tons of that around here. No, there wasn't. It took me being brave to go and do it on my own and find those people. So
totally,
it's just such an interesting balance of the importance of knowing yourself, but then know yourself and bring them all together to know yourself all together, right, Rue?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that is also beautifully said, and it really is like we do experience the world from our own perspective. We do have a sense of self. We do have like our own guidance system, whatever that is for each of us. And having the freedom and ability to follow that and like carve this path that is an individual path to some extent is so beautiful. And I value that so much too. Like I'm also a 4 in the Enneagram, so I'm the individualist.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is really funny. And it's like that only matters ultimately like in the context of some collective experience.
Right.
Because there's only so many doors you can open alone. There's only so many pathways, and it really is that paradox and that balance. And I think like we're being asked to come into greater balance, greater harmony. It's really clear that the world is like, the earth is crying out for that. We're all crying out for that. I mean, people, there's a loneliness epidemic, and there's so many people. Like we're all just in these little box apartments doing our own lives next to each other, and so many of these people are like craving connection, craving love in all of the ways. And it's there, but it's like, what will it take to get us to that next step And I think it's going to maybe take a little push out of the nest.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which I think we're getting. Like, it's clear. There's pushes. And I'm curious to see where they go.
Yeah, me too.
I'm very optimistic. But you started to touch on sort of like a cluster of my next questions with your background and like your upbringing and where you come from and how you found yourself on this path. Because as you said, like, you grew up on Long Island, like maybe this wasn't a path that was like apparent to you. So I'd love to hear that story and that journey.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty wild. So my grandma was a spiritual leader in her community. She was a pretty devout Christian Catholic woman. The best kind of Catholic you could find, in my opinion. Just a genuine sweetheart. She was a nurse, very loving. And I spent a lot of my childhood with her. My mom was working. And so I would dress the altars with her. I would go to church with her all the time. I went to prayer meetings with nuns. So I was kind of in that space. But Long Island, as I got older, it was very materialistic, very competitive, very outer based. And I really tried to fit in, and I ultimately did. I was friends with a lot of people. I did fine in that regard, but it was very hard for me. Very, very, very hard for me. And I just felt like there's something wrong with me. I don't belong here. Had a lot of emotional challenges, and I couldn't really share it with anyone, just my best friend. I couldn't really share much because it just didn't seem safe to. And I'm very grateful to my mother for knowing that I needed to leave. She really encouraged me to get out of New York and go away to school. And I'll say that, like, the minute I went away to school, it's like I was free. I was able to make so many choices. I think it's just, whenever I spend time with kids or young people these days, I'm just like, dang, it is hard to not be able to make choices. Like, I feel for them. I get their frustration. I get their fear of that. Especially if people aren't communicating with them or understanding them. But anyway, so I had all these choices to make. I focused a lot on spirituality because I had met someone, my partner, who was very into that world and opened a lot of doors for me in that regard, like things he had known that I hadn't known. But I was also on the internet for a few years at that time, and you learn, like, oh yeah, people are actually levitating in India, and oh, like, people have rainbow light body experiences and they die and their bodies smell sweet and flowers just appear from the sky. It's like, I heard these things. I was like, okay, like, I have to understand, like, there's clearly more to this human experience than, the, like, party culture I was raised in and the hustle culture I was raised in. So I was already very curious by the time I got to college, and I just ran with it. And then from that point till now, these past 12 years, it's just been, like, an absolute breadcrumb adventure of, like, surprises, of realizing that I'm really psychic, of having just met the right person that brought me to this right thing that was, like, an incredible course for me to take. Or I had, like, a kind of spontaneous Kundalini awakening in 2018, and it changed my art and it changed my senses, and I started doing readings and energy work. No one taught me, and I just did it. So it's been, like, a very innocent journey in a way, where I've really been led, and I can give myself credit for wanting to connect to something greater and something true. And also my curiosity. Like, I was agnostic for a very long time. I was willing to say, I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I was so confused why people were so quick to say they did. It's like, really? Like, you know for sure? I don't.
Yeah.
And through that, I've just been able to get all these bits. And the last and really important thing for me is, like, I've traveled a ton.
Yeah.
And people said, hey, travel when you're young. And I was like, okay. So I traveled as much as I could, which means meeting so many different people, different cultures, different places. And God, that is like one of the greatest things I will always be grateful for to younger me, is being willing to do it, because it really expands your mind. Just like psychedelics, which I also partook in and were very helpful in my journey. But it just, you get to start to realize that the edges of your reality, some of them are just completely made up. Yeah. Some of this stuff is just true for a group of people that you were around when you were growing up. Sometimes this is true for a bigger group of people. It doesn't really matter. It's just knowing that, like, you get to find out, oh, this is the truth. Yeah. Like, throughout my entire life, the golden rule is true. Treat others how you want to be treated. Like, that has lasted all this time. But, you know, needing to fit in hasn't lasted. I'm trying to think of something else. Like, but yeah, just these, like, cultural ideas, you can put them down if they don't suit you, especially if they're resonating, if what you're feeling is resonating with something greater. And what I've found myself and through other teachers of mine is, like, what's really true is going to be true on many levels. Mm-hmm. It's not going to just be true in a little box in a little moment. It's way bigger. You'll see it in nature. You'll see it in, you know, other people and other dynamics. And that's been so fun. Yeah. To replace all this stuff I was taught. No offense to my family or my my upbringing. It's just like a wonderful release that I would hope everyone could have, is to just have that freedom to find your truth.
Yeah. So beautiful. Totally. I think that's right. Like, that's the dream. I think that feels like ultimate freedom to me, of being able to reorient your own heart, your own system. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that brings me into another question of, I saw that you were speaking today on the internet about resonance. Yeah. And I would love to hear more about that for you, like what resonance is for you and how you use that as a guiding force.
I love this question, because this stuff is so tricky in some ways to talk about. But I really want to try to talk about it more. Yeah, we're gonna try.
Just exploring over here.
We're gonna try.
We still don't really know.
we don't, but we do.
We know some things.
So the post I had written today was like, resonance doesn't need to sell, it rings like a bell. And I find that to be true. Like, there is a feeling that I have that is different based on different moments and different experiences, but sometimes it's like warm water. Sometimes there's an experience where it's like, this just feels like a perfect shoe on my foot. There's no friction here. I'm not buzzing in my head about it. I'm not trying to make it right. It's just flowing. It's just whole. There's other times that, like, someone says something and a word just, like, buzzes in my ear. It's almost like, hey, like, that was really important. Did you hear that? Did you hear that little thing? Yeah. Or I've been seeing 911 everywhere lately. Everywhere. That's, like, the number that's working with me right now. I see it as healing. But I'll just, like, turn my head, all of a sudden there's 911. I turn my head and there's 911. It's like, why am I turning my head?
Yeah.
Why am I seeing that thing? And it's like, we live in a vibrational reality. It's just scientific. It's not a spiritual fact. It's just a scientific fact. This is all matter buzzing around, blah, 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 doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, of course, we have our own antennas. We're born with it. We have our own instincts. Animals aren't the only ones. Do you know how much I think about, like, how did herbalists learn what herbs did what without killing themselves? I'm sure some died, but, like, you know, how did we know, oh, this plant is good for this? How did we know, you know, the instincts of a mother? These are just in us because we're here to survive and thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So in our modern day world where we're just being pummeled with data and beliefs and programs and stuff, some great, some not so great, we often forget that we are these animals that thrive off of our senses. That know, oh, I'm just feeling called to getting up today and going outside immediately. And it's like, the sunrise was the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen. It's like, that's in us. So it just feels so incredibly important to me to build that in myself and give everyone the permission, whoever wants it, to go deeper into your felt sense of yourself. I've found that does take a little bit of reorientation at first if you've been so in your mind and so trying to get it right and thinking there's a right and a wrong, because the brain will interrupt a million times. Oh, that would be stupid, don't do that, or oh, that would be awkward, don't do this. But the more you start to soften into, I give myself permission to go with it. Because who says, like, I don't believe in right and wrong. I really don't. It starts to open you into a more creative life.
Yeah.
And, yeah, there's a lot of ways that resonance will show up, but I experience it physically and audibly a lot. Like, or I'll hear someone's voice and I'm like, I really like that person's voice. Like, it feels so familiar to me. Yeah. Maybe they're my friend. Yeah. You know? Or I see a book cover and I'm like, that book just feels right. I picked up a book once, like, years ago. No one would even know what this book is. Like, The Healing I Took Birth for. It's a book about death and dying, which is, like, an important topic in my life. And wow, that book was the most perfect book for me ever. And I literally just was like, I don't know why, but I have to buy that book. It's so good, by Andrea Levine and Stephen Levine. Like, anyway, and if it resonates with you, great. And if it doesn't, it's not your book.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like you did really describe that in a really, really beautiful way. Thanks. That really made sense, because I think it can be hard to describe. And I think part of that is also because I think each person experiences resonance differently, right? Like, you're saying that you, like, hear things and, like, you, like, have it in your body and you're being, like, pulled in these ways, which my orientation is similar to. I think, like, I never hear things out loud, but it's, like, a knowing. A lot of, like,
a sentience. Clairsentience.
A clairsentience and clear, like, cognizance and right, like, all of those moments where, your attention is just being pulled in this direction. And if you can just let that happen and be a guiding force, it's miraculous what unfolds. And it often is like these little pebbles. It can be like a big experience, like meeting a partner or like meeting the right person or a job opportunity or like moving somewhere, like these life-changing, more like pivotal things. And it can just be that perfect book at the perfect time. Even the other day, I mean, well, I guess this one is a little different. I'll share it anyway. But it's more like a small manifestation that's like a big deal. I compost and I just keep things in the fridge, or the freezer rather, and I bring them to a place around the corner. But it's such a pain to go. It's like out of the direction. I always think, oh, it's going to take 5 minutes, but then it takes like half an hour to do this thing. It's not easy. And I was like, wow, this is like a little prickle in a thorn in my foot, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then I was really thinking about it. I was like, I need a solution for this compost thing. And then our landlord, I go outside, and he's like, we've got a compost bin right here.
Oh, amazing.
I was like, what? And, like, that's more, I think, in the, like, creating things realm. But it works similarly in that way that, like, when we're paying attention and being guided and being pulled, like, go to that coffee shop, say hi to this person. Like, those little hits are huge.
They are.
They, like, end up making the fabric of our lives because, sure, like, those big moments are so beautiful when they unfold, and they usually unfold in, like, the same way in these relaxed states, in these, like, wow, I wasn't expecting that state. But we open to those bigger moments, I think, by listening to the smaller ones. And most of our days and most of our lives are made up of the smaller ones because we're just moving through, we're living, we're doing all the things. But it makes it so rich and magical when we're listening and when we're like, okay, today I'm going to drive in this different direction. And then you, like, see a rainbow or see an amazing bird, right? It's small, but that's also really magical. Yeah. And what else is there besides that as, like, these little human beings out here?
Oh, it's really well said. It's really true. Like, the little things are everything. Because it's like they all add up to, like, just so many, like, little kisses from the universe and little sweetnesses and
kisses.
You know, that's how it feels. And
it does.
Really important, I think, especially like talking about, like, the loneliness epidemic. Like, it's, again, there's such a paradox. It's like if you're really paying attention, you can feel those kisses.
You can. I think that, like, that really was what turned up the volume. I've always had that, and there's, like, moments where I've been in it in earlier years, but, like, what turned up the volume is going through a heartbreak and being really lonely and being like, I didn't know how to move through the day as just myself. Like, I had to look to something higher. Yeah. And I was just following, like, the next tolerable step I could take. And the next tolerable step started to lead to magic. It started to lead toward the next best step. Like, it grew, but I was so at a loss of, like, how to live in the world and, like, move through a day that I would just, like, wait till I heard, like, a little hit, a little instinct, and I'd be like, okay, I'll go work at that coffee shop. And then I would meet someone who maybe isn't in my life now, but I would have, like, a conversation, and someone would tell me, like, some little thing that would resolve, like, some little conflict in me, that would soothe it. It would be that little kiss from the universe. Like, okay, it would give me, like, these little drops in this really empty bucket. And then I just was like, oh, wow, there's something really there. I'm not turning this volume down, even though I'm not relying on it to get through a day in the way that I did in that period. Yeah. And so sometimes it takes, like, not knowing what to do and not being able to rely on your mind, right?
Correct.
Like, going into the senses, we have so much information, and it comes in all these different ways. We're just so dependent on the mind in this culture, in this modern era. But information is not always in that area of the body.
No, it's not meant to be. And I think it's really relatable. Like, breakups really do that. Death does that. Yeah, grief. It's just, you're just stuck with your sensations in a lot of ways, and having to navigate something that maybe you didn't want to navigate, didn't expect to, and then, wow, what a gift to be thrust into a space where you're getting all these little signs, and you're realizing that you're loved and supported in all these other ways, and the connection isn't gone. The connection you lost, quote unquote, it can't be lost, because it's just what this whole thing is. So I really get that.
Yeah. And I love, honestly, this is sort of tying back to the beginning, right? Of like, how do we cultivate that trust? How do we cultivate that sense that we are being guided, that we are being held, that life is happening for us, not to us, that it's unfolding in this way, even in those unbearable moments of grief and loss and confusion and transformation. Like, it really does feel like the best opportunity to strengthen those roots. And I think, like, that's what I really hope for everyone collectively now. So many people going through hard things. Like, as I said, everyone I know is going through some sort of transition. And I imagine that that is extending out beyond, like, the people I know, just looking at the world right now.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Yeah, and you're not really saying this, but I'm saying this. I think it's another reason why capacity is so important. Like, all of us to really grow our capacity emotionally and grow our capacity for compassion, like genuine compassion, not just saying it. Because, yeah, like, we are all going through a lot. And sometimes, like, some days are really hard.
Yeah.
Some days it doesn't seem like there's any kisses. Some days it's like, you know, I'm in bed and I'm lethargic. I don't feel good. Something is not working the way I thought it would work. It's like, I think it is important that we feel that we have people in our lives that can show up for us in those moments. And I've noticed that when everyone feels like a lack of capacity, it's hard. And I think there's like a lot of communities, I wouldn't say it's Austin, but like there's a lot of communities out there where everyone's hustling, everyone's stressed, everyone's got kids, everyone's busy. You can't just call your friend and be like, I need something right now. Like, everyone's just so jammed. Yeah. And I want to find that for myself, that balance where, like, I have good boundaries where I'm taking really good care of myself, but I also know that I can show up for other people if they need me, and I have a plethora of people that can show up for me if I need them. I just think it's, like, really important and tribal. It's like these are things that were baked into our human existence back in the day, but not as much anymore unless you cultivate it.
Yeah, fully. It is so in there, and it's like finding our way back to that, as you're saying, and like that balance and that cultivation. Yeah, from here, I'm curious, sort of, if you want to impart any visions you're holding for the collective, for yourself, and like what you see as sort of this new earth, and like where we're moving, and like how you're moving toward that.
Ayla,
in big ways or small.
These are really juicy, good questions. Thank you so much for
thank you.
Your thoughtfulness. Another big one that I have a lot I could say about. One, I don't watch dystopian films. I like a thriller. I like a mind-twisting kind of thing. But if you are watching that stuff and you're feeding into that timeline, like, I really want to just encourage you to stop. Or why are you doing that? Really think about it for a moment. Why are you doing that? Maybe you think you're, like, facing a fear you have. Maybe you think you're going to have some, like, level of control to look at that stuff. But on some level, like, that is not feeling very good to your emotional body. It doesn't feel good to mine. So I really love to trust and believe that for every problem there's actually a solution. Yeah. Like, that is something I give to myself daily. Like, oh, I have this outstanding thing that's weighing on me. There is a solution. I just need to go talk to somebody. I'm having a conflict with a friend. Okay, if I come into that conversation believing I have a solution, I'm probably going to do a lot better than if I go, oh my God, this is so messed up, this is so bad. I've seen this work so many times in my life. So I really like to believe, and I see it in the human spirit, we all care.
Yeah.
We all actually really, really care. It's just like life can harden people, make them more defensive, protective. But underneath all of that is like a lot of just sweetness and our nature.
Totally.
Which is wanting to weave, build, take care of each other.
Yeah.
Like before there was all this money stuff, like if there was a fire in the village, it doesn't matter if it's your house or not, they would have gotten together and, you know, gotten rid of the fire. That's just who we are. So I truly see that we are all expanding in consciousness so much. Consciousness is growing every day. Another thing I tell myself all the time.
It is.
So with that, we are evolving just like anything on this planet. So let's feed into that timeline. What does that look like? I don't know. Does that mean California is going to break off from the U.S. and float into the ocean? Maybe. Like, I'm not saying it's not going to be, like, possibly complicated or chaotic, but it's all moving towards evolution. We're moving towards greatness. And I don't see that all these people would be awakening to this potential just for us to get to some kind of doom and gloom bullshit. Like,
totally.
No way. You know, even like seeing what's happening on a leadership level, like I love RFK Jr. and regardless what you think of him or don't think of him, the man speaks more soulfully than like any politician I've seen in a really long time. And that's not totally fringe anymore. Like he's being seen by millions of people.
Yeah.
So that shows me we are evolving. We're talking about healthiness. We're talking about food, being conscious of food. Like this is all such a good sign to me.
Totally.
And I also just believe ultimately in the human heart. It's like what I already said. We care. And if we all just lay down the sword a little bit more, even just like a little bit, you don't have to like throw it all on the ground, but just a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think everyone would be really just enchanted by each other and see that there is so much we can all do as we come together more. And it doesn't have to be this kumbaya bullshit. It's like trust the organic flow of you coming into contact with the people you're meant to come into contact with and hold your values and your skill sets would be perfect for, and listen to what you know is perfect for you. Like I know that I am not someone who's going to live in one place forever. That's just not who I am. It's never who I've been. I'm someone that's meant to spread my fairy dust around and you know plug into different communities and spaces, and I don't judge that. I trust that that is nature through me working my vessel perfectly. Totally. So if you're like a hermit and you don't really like to go anywhere that much, that's okay. You know, maybe you're holding down the grid, you're holding down an energy. How can you connect to people in your way? Because, you know, even if you like to be alone, maybe there are ways that you can still connect with people. You know, if you're super fixated on a topic, give yourself to that. Maybe that's going to lead you somewhere. But just, it's all purposeful, and you can feel when it's not. Once you start to like be intentional, and I'm sure that anyone listening to this podcast is on their journey of intentionality, but once you start to feel when you're in your alignment, it's pretty obvious when you're doing something to avoid or numb or dissociate or isn't for you. And you just keep strengthening that muscle.
Yeah.
And give the rest up to the divine. Like, we are not supposed to know everything.
Totally.
We are not supposed to have this 10-year plan that it's just perfectly written down every detail.
Yeah.
You know? But then I was given some messages when I was a teenager that are still true to me now. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I can trust that too.
Yeah.
So I said a lot of things there, but
yeah,
ultimately trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Trusting, I think, just like that trust in the good of the human heart, and that we really do all want the same things of love and peace and happiness and prosperity, and really just to be able to express that and be in that space of thriving and allowing. And I do really think that everyone does want that. I'm on board with this vision fully.
I'm sure. I'm very sensitive to like binaries and like,
yeah.
I always have to bring in a little nuance. I do think that there are some people that, you know, they do want chaos. They don't want to come together. And, you know, we have to have our good boundaries too.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I'm like, it can't be all kumbaya.
Yeah.
But
the vast majority.
Even
if they're doing it in a really different way than you would, right? Like, that brings tension, and maybe they're not for you, but like their families and their orientation, like they're wanting wellness, peace.
Everyone wants to get home safe.
Yeah.
Right? I used to be so scared of driving, and I had this moment a few years ago where it just hit me. I'm like, everyone wants to get home safe right now. No one, like, it's not like me trying to get home safe and all these jerks who just want to maybe kill me. No.
Totally. Yeah, it's a good reminder. That's like a simple one. Everyone wants to get home safe. Well, I would love to hear about kind of like what you're up to this fall, how people can find you, the different offerings you have, and
Well, this fall is my favorite season. I just feel so creative.
Good. I know.
Right?
I feel like I was like kind of missing out somehow in my mind. I don't know. It's hitting different this year.
Good. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's school vibes, new school year vibes, but yeah, I get super excited this time of the year. So I am creating a group program called Overflowing. It'll be a 6-week container starting October 23rd. And it will be for women. And it's going to be a space where I do some deep dive meditations, attunements, kind of infused with my priestess work. And the intention is to really nourish that more energetic and essence aspect of our systems. And there will be also leaps every other week, which LEAP stands for Life Force Energy Awakening Process. It's a Kundalini transmission where all you have to do is receive. The container is really just about receiving. And those sessions are really powerful and mysterious, just activating your Kundalini energy in this really yin way where you don't get overwhelmed, or it just meets your system exactly where it is. And it's going to be a really activating but feminine container. Super excited about that. And I'm also going to be doing a special in-person LEAP on November 8th. It's going to be a dance of death and life to honor this time of the year, the waning season. So that will be in Austin, Yoga Vita. And if anyone is looking for my work or any of these details, I'm Tatiana Fontalvo. I mostly use Instagram. I have a website. It's my name. But that's what's cooking right now, and I'm feeling really grateful to just lean into what I've got and share it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for conversing and being here and being such a sweet, beautiful friend. I'm so glad that we met, and yeah, our conversations are always so fun, so I'm grateful to have one recorded.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, Ayla, for having me. And
of course.
Ayla's been my neighbor for a bit, and it's been so nice.
Yeah.
True neighbor.
Yeah. Another twists and turns of magical things and leaning in and little kisses. A whole bunch of kisses.
Yeah. It's so true. And
Yeah.
I love that you're doing this podcast. It's been so nice chatting with you. Thank you.
Thank you.